What's up, good people? Welcome back to the Sinusoidal Music YouTube channel with yours truly, Prince Charizard. Today we've got another song review for you guys. It's called IYOAB, and the track is by an amazing French collective. It's an artist collective. They're called Major Kami. It consists of really good musicians like Denis Expert, Sarah J. Fowler from Massive Attack, Camille Miller, who's done some bone-chilling vocals on this latest EP. The EP is called Skandal. In case you guys haven't caught the Skandal EP, you can check it out on our channel. I'll put a link to it somewhere on screen, probably over here. If you would like to read a blog article about the track Skandal, which is of course from the same EP, you can check out the article by Leela Iyer in the description below. So let's get into it.
Yellow, orange and blue, or in Tokyo pop, Kabuki, woo. Plick-plack spiderweb covering him, and golden hands will excite you. Yellow, orange and blue, a second skin to the English flag. He comes from pop rock, where glam is king, and which he is the king of. No one can replace.
Wow, so right off the bat, you could probably tell that this is going to be a lyrically driven song. The vocals kind of have this almost like a rock and roll kind of vibe where, it's just like raw, heartfelt vocals where you're just singing out the entire story that you're painting. I also want to talk about the drums over here. I think the drums, it sounds to me like they're live drums, but I'm not exactly sure. I want to listen to this again. The moment the drums hit, it's like it's a simple-ish line in the sense that it's a repeating line, but I think that's a conscious creative decision just to give the entire story a pulse, right? Because you're trying to drive the song lyrically and you really want the listener to zone in and zero in on the vocals so that they're completely with you when the picture is being painted. I think the drums add that pulse and actually enable the artist to continue doing that, lyrically painting a picture. Let's take a look back at the drums again here.
Will excite you. Yellow, orange and blue, a second skin to the English flag. He comes from pop rock, where glam is king, and which he is the king of.
Okay, so I'm still a little bit torn between deciding if the drums have been recorded live or whether they've been sampled like a typical like a breakbeat kind of sampling. But I am leaning towards sample drums. It's just that it's so tightly done. Like you can even hear those tiny ghost notes in there which just make that drum beat all the more interesting. Now coming to the hero of this part itself, let's talk about what's happening lyrically. So the first line of the song tells us what the song stands for, right? What the acronym stands for. It's in yellow, orange, and blue. So yellow, orange, and blue are basically the colors of la joie de vivre, the joy of living, which is kind of a way of thinking, but it's also kind of a philosophical movement from France, which just celebrates the joy of living, the joy in small things. It speaks about the power in each action. And that really becomes the central piece of this entire track. I think the first verse is just introducing that idea, but as we progress, it's really being reinforced. So it goes in yellow, orange, and blue. Or in Tokyo pop, Kabuki. So Kabuki, for those of us who don't know, is the traditional style of Japanese drama, like Japanese theater. And Kabuki is known for really bold makeup, for like really exaggerating human emotions, human actions, and it could be something as simple as a person walking down the street and having a conversation. But Kabuki would make that a whole boisterous, elegant show of just that little walk and that incident. Black spider web covering him and golden hands to excite you. He comes from pop rock where glam is king and of which he is the king of. And all of the imagery and the visuals which the lyrics are painting point us to this world of glam and pop and extravagance and just celebrating life in a very colorful way. But let's see what they do with this narrative and where this actually ends up at. So let's continue listening in.
No one can replace him, burning star for very long. He gave a good show. Good show. Yellow, orange, and blue. Who is this young fool?
So that was our chorus right there. Let's talk about that synth line going on. I love that. I don't know what they've done. It kind of sounds like an operator, but it could just be an analog synth which they are using. It sounds like it's playing a guitar solo. Absolutely love this. This is like the way to use an instrument. I seriously feel that when you really play an instrument and you are expressing through the instrument, like you can hear the pitch bends, the modulation, it's just so beautiful. It's the right way to play an instrument. I love that they could have just as easily thrown on an arpeggiator, or they could have just played a straight line and put in like a bunch of reverb and chorus to make it sound really huge, but they didn't do that. They really took the synth and made it sound like a typical rock guitar solo would, and it's amazing that they've done that. Another thing we have to talk about is the bass line going on in the chorus. It's typically, I'm somebody who enjoys like funk style, really in your face, bass lines which are doing some fills and they're really in the pocket. Of course, this bass line is in the pocket, no fills, but again, similar to the drums, they are creating a very interesting pulse, almost like you're not noticing it. That is the way to do a track like this, because that means your focus is only on the vocals and the singing and the entire story that's being painted. But all of the other elements, the drums, the synth, the swells in the back, and of course the bass, are all coming together to support that main hero and that leading role. It's almost like they've created a Kabuki theater with the different instruments and the different elements of the song. Let's take a listen to the next verse and let's see where the story is actually heading.
Yellow, orange, and blue. Who is this young fool? Kabuki of the Kabukis who descends from the mods, overcoming elegance to rise to the top of his pop. Yellow, orange, and blue. A second skin that he puts on to change us and leave us floating in his values.
All right, so now is when we get a little bit of an insight into where the story is properly heading, and this is so interesting. It's the second verse starts out with the same line in yellow, orange, and blue, and then it goes, "Who is this young fool? Kabuki of the Kabukis who descended from the mods, overcoming elegance." Now, this is super important and super powerful right here. In the beginning, again, we've got our visuals of yellow, orange, blue, the colors of joie de vivre. Who is this young fool? Kabuki of the Kabukis who? We're again going back to the visuals of Kabuki theater. It's almost like somebody is questioning the power of this young fool, the champion of Kabuki, right? Descended from the mods, overcoming elegance. Now, overcoming elegance to me is a very powerful line. I think all of this while we've been building up in terms of visually and literally celebrating the joy of life through colors, through animated theater, through really loud human expressions, through dance and music. But the moment we hit this line, overcoming elegance, I think that's a really crisp and beautiful way to sum up the actual message and the actual power of a performer. Elegance is one thing that would attract somebody at the surface, but underneath that elegance, there is a certain message which carries your art further than just a surface level of entertainment, right? It's more than just entertainment. To rise to the top of the pop in yellow, orange, and blue, a second skin that he puts on, and the background vocals at this point go, "Me and you," to change us and leave us floating in his values. you may have come across something, you may have seen something happening day in and day out, but the moment you're able to see it from a different perspective, you may even approach the same thing happening in your life in a different way. And I think that's what the last line does. The last three lines, to be honest, it's to change us and leave us floating in his values. So it's almost like it's all a ruse to get you interested in the art, and then the message hits you, right? I love this entire work of music so much that for like 3 days I was just jumping back and forth between what track we're going to review from this EP. I mean, it is such a banger, and it's not just a banger, it's a very intelligently crafted banger, which is something I personally really enjoy. I get super wet for tracks like that, huh? So that was IYOAB by Major Kami. I'm gonna leave some links to Major Kami's music and their a little bit about their journey, their story down below. I think you guys should really check them out. Give them some love. They're a really cool collective. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to show us some love by leaving a like down below. Share this video with a friend, maybe somebody who would enjoy this kind of songwriting, who would enjoy this track. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can get all of our fresh content, like when it's like hot and fresh, you know? You don't want to be coming on and just see like something later on. Until next time, this is Prince Charizard for Sinusoidal Music signing off.